Guten Erev Shabbos. Hope you're having a great day. This portion is Parsha Shlach, one of my favorite Torah portions. We read the story of the spies, 12 great leaders who God sent into the land of Israel to figure out the best way to conquer it, and yet 10 failed. God didn't ask them if they could do it. God asked them what's the best way to do it. And there's many beautiful lessons. The fact that 2 overcame it, which teaches us the lesson that you don't always have to follow the leaders. But today I want to speak about Caleb and about the struggles we have as human beings. When you think about jealousy, you think about anger, you think about imperfections. And all of us have struggles, things that we could be better at, things that we fail with, times that we fail, maybe our family, our friends, our community, our workers, our bosses. And we say we're a failure. We can't be a true hero. We can't be a true great person because we struggle. In this week's Torah portion, when God tells the Jewish people that the 10 spies will die in the desert and they won't go to the Holy Land, the next word God says is the verse 24. God says, "Ba'avdi Kalev, my servant Caleb, Ekev Hoisa Ruach Acheres Imar," because he had a different spirit, and he came after God to the right side, he will go into the land of Israel. And the question all the commentaries ask is, first of all, what does it mean he had a different spirit? And why does he call him here my servant Caleb? That's a word that is revered. God only says about Moses that he's my servant. Not often do we hear that. And secondly, what happened to Joshua? Wasn't Joshua also one of the spies who came back and gave back a good opinion, and he was the one who actually brought the Jews into the Holy Land of Israel? So why is only Caleb mentioned here? And many commentators have different opinions. Rashi brings the opinion that Caleb, he says Ruach Acheret, he had a different spirit, because Caleb spoke one word. He made believe with the spies that he was with them, yet he said something, he thought something else, really he was against them. And that's what we find out later. And that's what Nachmandi says, that basically Caleb gets the reward because he was able to quiet everyone down. When the spies came back and they said how bad the land is, Caleb got up and said, "Hey, you think that's all Moses did? You know what else he did?" And they thought he was going to say something bad because they thought he was with them. And then he went on to say, "No, Moses split the sea. He gave us the Torah. He took us out of Egypt." So he gets reward for that. Some commentaries, the Nitziv, say that maybe it was Caleb's risking going to Hebron to pray because it was a dangerous place, but he went to pray at the grave of the matriarchs and the patriarchs, and for that he's called a person who had a different spirit and who had the courage. But the Or HaChaim, the famous Or HaChaim, says something so beautiful and so meaningful. And he says like this, you see, Joshua from the beginning had no questions. He knew that Israel was right. Moses had blessed him before he left. He was convinced he was coming back with the right report. But Caleb, he says, Caleb struggled. He wasn't sure. Should we go into Israel? Should he side with Joshua? Or maybe should he side with the spies, with the 10 spies who came back with the most devastating report? He struggled the whole time. And that's why he went to Hebron to pray, because he pleaded with the patriarchs and matriarchs to help him overcome his struggle and be on the right side of history and do what he was supposed to do. And yet, that's what really makes a servant. That's what the Torah means when it says he had a different spirit. That although he struggled, although he was unsure what was right, Caleb ultimately did the right thing. Because true heroes and true righteous people and servants of God are not those who don't struggle, are not those who have no temptations, but they're those who, despite their temptations and despite their failings sometimes, overcome it and do what's right and climb higher. Heroes are not people who are perfect. Heroes are people who overcome their struggles. So yes, you might think to yourself some days, I have a struggle, I want to do the wrong thing. Listen to the story of Caleb. God says, Avdi Kalev. Caleb is called my servant. Because you know why? Because he had the spirit to overcome his temptations and his uncertainty and his ambiguity to do what was right. My friends, the lesson is so powerful. You know, I want to leave you one short story. You talk about the spies and the struggle, and here they are. God took them out of Egypt, and God split the sea, and God gave them the Torah, and they come and they complain. God sends them to the land of Israel and shows them all the beautiful things, and yet what do they see? They see the fruit that are too large. They see the fortified cities. And the stories with all of us in our life, we struggle with the same thing. Sometimes life could be so beautiful, but we have something that's imperfect. We have a challenge. And all we focus on is that imperfection. They say the story about this guy who really was fed up with his life. And he turns to God one day and he says, God, I'm fed up. I can't deal with this anymore. Could you give me a new life? God says, sure. What do you have to give me for it? He says, I have $20. I'll give you $20. God says, no problem. $20, that's the price of a new life. And the guy turns to God and says, God, but if I give you $20, then how am I going to put gas in my car? So God says, oh, you also have a car. The price of a new life is $20 plus the car. He says, God, but if I give you the car, how am I going to get to work every day? So God says, oh, you also have a job. The price of a new life is $20 plus the car plus a good new job. He says, God, but if I don't have a job, how am I going to pay my mortgage? And God says, oh, you also have a house. The price of a new life is $20 plus a car plus a job and plus your house. But he says, God, if I give you my house, where are my wife and kids going to stay? God says, aha, you also have a wife and kids. The price of a new life is $20 plus a car, plus your job, plus your house, plus your wife and kids. And here, this is your new life. We have to learn not to get caught up with those small details and to focus on the blessings and the gifts we have. And when we struggle, to know that that's why God brought us to this world. Because when we overcome those struggles, and when we stand up after we fall, we are like Caleb. We are the servants of God. We have the spirit, the other spirit, the spirit of a real hero who overcomes his struggles and challenges. God bless you and have a great Shabbos.